feeling so limited in everything that I say. And it was kind of like, oh, is someone watching over me at all times? Like if I post something, because I also have a lot of Turkish people on my accounts. Like I lived in Istanbul. Is someone watching over me at all times? Is someone watching over me at all times? Like if I wear this necklace, however I hide it when I go into certain neighborhoods.
Right.
If I go, around Haagse Markt, and there are a lot of Turkish people there, I will put this necklace away for safety reasons. So there's still an element of danger that exists in any country, I think, if you are Kurdish.
Asker, bizim asker, en büyük asker, bizim asker, en büyük asker, bizim asker, en büyük asker, bizim asker.
Posting on your own social media, on your own Instagram, on your own Facebook, talking about issues that affects Kurdish people is actually quite dangerous, especially if you do travel to Turkey. In the time leading up to the event, we started getting a lot of death threats.
Right.
From Turkish people in the Netherlands. And it became dangerous to actually have the event as well. The event was taking place in Utrecht and up all the way to the mayor of Utrecht. We got a lot of police officers to protect us during the event. So there were convoys outside, people guarding the doors, and also people dressed not in uniform, like just in any clothes, police officers that were inside the event. Also, like, they knew who we were. We posted the event about Afrin on social media, as we do with every event. We started getting a lot of death threats in our inboxes and also on the Facebook posts. We also found out that the Turkish people in their groups, like in their Facebook groups, were spreading the news of this event that was happening.
Right.
And where it was going to happen, when it was going to happen, what it was about, and exposing us.
Niet vragen. Veel maar aan die kant. Zij beland, vraag maar aan hun.
They sort of screenshotted those things and spread them amongst themselves. So our fear was essentially that if we have the event, some people might come into the event, you can't know if someone is Turkish or not. And then, pull a knife or pull a gun. So that was one of our fears. The other fear that we had was that they would come to the event and, protest, and that it would get violent, and that they would, again, pull a gun or pull a knife. So it was like, because that was the threats that were going around. They were essentially saying, let's go beat the shit out of them. At that point, my mom already told me, I don't think that you are going to go to Turkey anytime soon.
Right.
A lot of these people are people that do report back to the government.
Right.
You never know if it is someone who is reporting, who is taking a picture of my face or screenshotting it from the website or from the Facebook page and then sending it to the Turkish government. You don't know that. I think there are people that are very much planted into universities, into different places. Very little that I can do, especially because we live in a country in which not the YPG but the PKK is listed as a terrorist organization. So there's very little that you can do, but then there was my fear, like if I go into this person's class and I take this class and we have 20 people classes and I'm very vocal, essentially I'll be taking a class in which the professor sees me as a terrorist, because there is not that much differentiation to Turkish people between even what they consider a terrorist and a Kurdish person. If there was a differentiation, then they wouldn't be cheering on when Kurdish children are dying, are being murdered, when there's chemical weapons being used against them, when there's, essentially kids that are not part of any organization dying. That would not be something that Turkish people would be supporting. However it is. Because from my experience also living in Turkey, Kurdish people, children included, are future terrorists. Because there is a level of hate that I do not understand.
Right, so I'm just wondering, do you find that that othering process is at the root of this?
The othering is what helps perpetuate the violence. What Turks like to say is that we are mountain Turks. There is no acknowledgement of identity to begin with, of Kurdish people existing outside of Turkey, or especially through the denial of this identity and through forced assimilation processes, which is, you know, something that was extremely strong, that still is extremely strong in Turkey. Up until 91, essentially, it was legal for us to speak Kurdish, to say Kurdistan, to say I'm a Kurd. These things were illegal.
Right?
My mother did not learn how to speak Kurdish until she met my father. Because my grandma and mom's aunts, they would whisper to each other in Kurdish. What I do think Europe is definitely doing is allowing for Turkey to oppress Kurds in the levels that it does. It's allowing for Rojava to be invaded. It's allowing for Turkey to be a part of NATO. It's letting a lot of things slide by. You know, it's condemning by words, but essentially it's not really acting on anything. Being a bystander is, you know, as bad as being a perpetuator. The moment I step into the Turkish embassy, that's Turkish soils, that would mean that they could, you know, ship me off to Turkey and jail me.
Hier spreekt de politie. U voldoet niet aan de voorwaarden van de demonstratie. Als u niet luistert en uw geweld beëindigt, zal er geweld worden gebruikt.
I would not want to expose people's faces, and also my face, directly to government officials of Turkey. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country. I always say this. I took a class basically on nationalism, and that was one of the questions asked. Are you ready to sacrifice yourself for your nation? It was asked the first week of the class. I said yes, absolutely. I was the only one in the entire class that said so, because everybody comes from Europe. Like, why would you want to or need to do that? And then the last week of class was when the invasion happened. And last week of class, last lesson, the teacher asked the same thing, and I essentially choked up, like, I don't cry in public. And I said yes, and that was sort of all that I could say, and it was like
very emotional.
Very emotional. Like, if I am saying yes, I'm willing to sacrifice myself for my country, why am I here? Why am I not fighting there? Feeling so limited in everything that I say. And it was kind of like, oh, is someone watching over me at all times? Oh, is someone watching over me at all times?